Wednesday night was one of the absolute best slates of games in the NBA season so far. Maybe the single best slate of NBA games this entire season. So we're going to hop into all the interesting stuff. There was a ton of storylines, as you saw by my thumbnail. I didn't have one specific team to talk about. There was a ton to get into, so we're going to hop straight into that. But first, I want to mention if you enjoy daily NBA recaps and content, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm doing that every single day on this channel. So just something to think about. If you get farther enough into this video, make sure you like it if you do enjoy it. So we're going to start off with the Wizards and the 76ers. We had the Wizards taking another close loss, 136 to 141. Bradley Beal had a career-high 60 points. Russ had 20, 12, and 8. But it was simple. Embiid looks like the MVP, and the Wizards have no defense. It's nowhere to be found. There's absolutely no reason that a team should be putting up 141 points in regulation. Embiid looks like the MVP right now. He has my vote. Another 38-point game. This is the best team in basketball right now at 7-1, and I don't really think that's much else to credit than Joel Embiid and the coaching. They made the right roster changes to fix him. I think it's time to move on from Ben Simmons. He hasn't looked great either, but Tobias Harris has been playing really, really well. He's been able to defend. Joel Embiid is the best defender on this team. He's looked like the best defender in the league so far, and he's on the best team. And he is the MVP at this point. I don't know if that'll continue. We know about Joel Embiid's health struggles too, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But I think that this is incredibly disappointing for Bradley Beal, incredibly disappointing for the Washington Wizards. They lose another close one. I really do think this team could be like 5-3 at this point, but instead they are a 2-win team. Sorry. So definitely disappointing for the Wizards. I see potential for them to bounce back, but right now it does look very, very bad. The Cavaliers lose to the Magic 94 to 105. For me, the big storyline in this game was Markelle Fultz going out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. That is obviously super tough. What I want to talk about is Terrence Ross picking up another 20 piece off the bench. He has been maybe the best scorer on the Magic so far this season, and he's coming off the bench. He's been definitely in the 6th man of the year running. Terrence Ross is a player that is a steal for $9 million a year. Andre Drummond put up 19 and 15, probably the best game we've seen him have with the Cavs so far. Sexton had 24, shot it a little bit inefficiently. The second game in a row without Darius Garland. But not too much to say about that one. Just I really do hope Markelle Fultz can return because he just was turning that corner. He was just getting back to #1 pick Markelle Fultz. And he, of course, goes out with the ACL injury. Moving on, the Rockets and the Pacers. Rockets lose 107 to 114. This one was thanks to Miles Turner's 8 blocks and Malcolm Brogdon's 35 and 7. Brogdon's another one of those guys that are sneaky making a case for an All-Star game. The season ended right now, or the All-Star break came right now. Brogdon is in there for the All-Star game. John Wall had a 28, 6, and 3 game. The 6 was actually the rebounds, not his assists. His assists has been down so much compared to his normal career assist numbers, but his rebounds and his points have been up. But Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon, even without TJ Warren, they are filling in all the right ways, and Indiana will be a sneaky team in those playoffs. I do not doubt that. The Celtics played the Heat. Celtics won by 2. Another super close game for the Celtics. I really don't think that this team is as good as their record shows. They are so close to being like Washington, basically. Peyton Pritchard shot 3 for 10, but his most important shot came at the end where he tipped in the basket to win the game for the Boston Celtics. Nothing too much actually came out of that game, but it was pretty exciting to watch the rookie go for a tip-in. Hornets beat the Hawks 102 to 94. A bad loss for the Hawks. They've been super close in a lot of games. They've had a lot of games slip away from them, and now they fall to 4-4. There's no reason a player of Trae Young's offensive caliber should have 9 shots in a game and only make 2 of them. He should be shooting about 20 shots a game, 15 to 20, and he should be making like around 50%. He is a 30-point threat every single night, and tonight he puts up, I think it was 9 points, 7 points. LaMelo Ball had 16 points in 24 minutes. Obviously, he does other things on the floor. Devontae Graham had shot 2 for 14, and that's how Devontae Graham has been all season. I'm confused on why the move has not been made to move Terry Rozier to the 2, LaMelo Ball up, because in LaMelo Ball's minutes, he's playing relatively well, and Devontae Graham, I know he was their guy last year, but he is not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not getting buckets, and he's a complete liability on defense. It's time to move Graham to the bench. But Gordon Hayward had 44. He is back in the Utah Jazz, Gordon Hayward. It was a great signing for him. People are saying he was overpaid, and maybe he still is. But definitely an amazing pickup for them, and I don't think you could really dispute that. He fits in really well in Charlotte, and I think the Charlotte Hornets team has a bright future. They do just have to move on from one guard, and they have so many guards. I don't understand why they just aren't playing the hot hand. Jazz lose to the Knicks, 112-100. Another Knicks win. They have put themselves really in the playoff conversation. Donovan Mitchell shoots 8 for 23, again has another rough night. No one picked it up for the Jazz. Julius Randle had 30, 16, and 7. Austin Rivers went on a personal 14-0 run for the New York Knicks to win this game. What's going on in New York? I can't explain this. No basketball person can explain this. I do think it goes a lot to Tom Thibodeau. He does not care. He's playing the best players during the time. RJ Barrett sat at the end. Austin Rivers went off in his place. RJ was happy with it. He's building a culture there. Tom Thibodeau, that is building a culture there. The New York Knicks are adapting. They look like a team, and they are winning basketball games. Moving on from that, Thunder versus Pelicans. Bad loss for the Pelicans. That's definitely not something you can afford to do, is drop games like that to the Thunder. But Darius Bazley had a great game. I don't really have much to say about this Thunder one. Definitely just something that they got to bounce back from. Steven Adams and Zion Williamson on the floor together doesn't work with the spacing. It ended up where the Thunder were making it so they had to get the sharpshooters out there. Redick wasn't out there, and they forced Lonzo Ball and Eric Bledsoe to essentially be sharpshooters, and that's just not what they do. It didn't work out in their favor. The Thunder win. Pistons lose to the Bucks 130-115. Nothing too crazy came out of that one, but I know Jeremy Grant went off, so good for him. Raptors lose to the Suns 123-115. Pascal Siakam at 32. He obviously hurt his talking. Doesn't matter. They don't win the game. Jay Crowder is interesting. He put up another 21. He's had a very, very good season on a decently cheap contract for what he's producing. I was saying before the season they should be starting Cam Johnson, but Cam Johnson had a good game. Jay Crowder's just playing better, and it's looking like Jay Crowder's taking jobs. We'll see how that affects the future of the Suns, but right now the Suns are playing really, really well. Bulls lose to the Kings 124-128. This is a game that got away from the Bulls. They should have had this one. Kobe White had a nice night, 36-7. Levine had 32-7. It was simply the Kings bench. Tyrese Halliburton had 17. GR3, Glenn Robinson III had 14 off the bench. It was a good night for them. Buddy Hield had a 4-point play to put it away. And in the end, the Kings move up in the standings. The Bulls were on a nice little roll that comes to an end. Clippers beat the Warriors 108-101 in the last game of the night. Eric Pascal had 19 points in 20 minutes. Draymond Green played 31 minutes, had 4 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Who do you think should be the starter? Start Eric Pascal. It's not working with Draymond Green. He's not the guy he used to be. It's time to move on from Draymond Green. I'd even say it might be time to trade Draymond Green. The only problem is I don't know who would get him. So overall, just to recap, the Wizards need to have a better defense to win some games. The Sixers have the MVP on their team right now. The Cavaliers are struggling without Garland, but Drummond had a great game for them. The Magic lost Markelle Fultz, but Terrence Ross looks like the sixth man of the year. The Rockets couldn't hang with the Pacers' big lineup. Miles Turner had a great game. Brogdon's looking like an all-star. Celtics win another close one. The Hornets need to promote LaMelo. The Knicks look like a legit playoff team. The Jazz don't have an offense if it's not Donovan Mitchell. The Thunder beat the Pelicans. The Pelicans need to space the floor more. The Bucks beat the Pistons, yeah. The Raptors had a good game when no one cared because they lost. The Bulls had another game slip away from them. The Kings bench showed out. And the Clippers beat the Warriors in pretty easy fashion. Just make sure you're starting Eric Pascal. I am Ben Merrick, Hot Mic Sports, and I'll see you guys in the next one. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like the video. Peace.